This is exactly how I caught a break-even trade today. Coming into the day, my bias was bearish because we had very strong DOLs above. As you can see, we're in a market maker sell model right here because we just went to reach this objective, and now we're going to go to another objective of these bearish DOLs above here. We also had a bearish SMT at a previous day high, so if we're targeting this, then it would be targeting high resistance liquidity without any proper confirmation. You can see that there's nothing above and there's everything above. My main targets were this 1 hour internal low, this 4 hour internal low, which is also previous day low, and this is my main drawn liquidity, which finishes the market maker sell model, which is this 4 hour internal low. Coming into the day, I was very bearish, and I was hoping that we could tap into this 1 hour and distribute price from there. But I also had a condition that if we inverse this 1 hour, or we went to this 1 hour internal high and had confirmation of bullishness, then I would take a 15-minute continuation to this buy side liquidity up here, which is previous day high. And it does not matter that there's SMT there, because if prices fail to distribute a bearish from this SMT, then this SMT does not matter and is still a valid target. Coming into market open, you can see we have these data lows, this low resistance liquidity, and this data high above here resting inside this whole 1 hour fair value gap. What I wanted to see coming open, I wanted to see us manipulate higher into this 1 hour bearish fair value gap to sweep out this data high, then target low resistance liquidity to this data low and this 1 hour internal high as our DOL. This is good because what you want to be doing is targeting low resistance liquidity is right here, which is right here, that we're building up, leading to manipulating into here and distributing out of here. We also are targeting data highs, which is a very strong draw on liquidity, and a 1 hour internal high, which is a very obvious DOL. And above us, we have high resistance liquidity, which is liquidity that is not likely to be traded back to, which is why we wanted to sweep this data high, which makes this high resistance, because sweeping liquidity makes it high resistance because there's nothing else above here and there's everything below. So knowing my targets are this low resistance liquidity, data lows, and this 1 hour internal low, what I wanted is to come up into this 1 hour gap, get an inversion fair value gap, enter, put my stop at the high, and target these lows. And that's the exact trade that I took today based off that idea. You can see that 9:30, we accumulate around here, then 9:30 opens up and we manipulate into this 1 hour gap, sweeping out this data high with an SMT showing that manipulation has been done, which makes this high above here high resistance because it's not likely to be traded back to because we already manipulated this whole area. Then targeting, we have this low resistance liquidity, which is going to get ran through, and our very strong DOLs above. I had my break even placed here, and before my entry we did have an SMT at my break even, but the reason I wasn't worried about this is because we have nothing above and everything below. This is a very good signature in price, which is going to be a very strong idea that price will deliver to your take profits, and that's exactly why I wasn't worried about that. As you can see, the first entry we have is this 3-minute inversion fair value gap right here, but the reason I faded this is because the large rejection wick, which I should have ignored knowing that we had a huge rejection wick to the upside. So I ended up taking a close with better displacement, which was this candle right here that we closed fully through it, and we also retested this rejection block range and showed that this SMT is weak because we just failed to distribute off of it and getting us a close here, and this is what I entered off of. As you can see, this delivered very well, but we ended up getting break even because price flushed through this break even point and then returned back up and then delivered price. So it's pretty unfortunate, but it is still a very good setup because we did have our 9:30 PO3 showing that we are accumulating during this pre-market range, and then 9:30 manipulated and creating all these lows, adding to the liquidity here that are easy to target. We also had an SMT up here in our 1 hour gap, which shows that we have really good manipulation and a very good sign of reversal. We also have this low resistance leading up to this very strong A plus DOL. One bad thing about this trade was the rejection wick, but this was on the original close because we had a bad rejection wick, but it's not something very important and why the trade could have lost or won. But we ended up entering on this other better close anyway, so that doesn't have any significance. But what I did not notice on my entry when I took this close is that we took this internal low, which is you're not supposed to take a trade when it takes your internal low, and we also interacted with this new gap, which I did not see, but luckily I did not get unlucky and it reversed to my stop loss and ended up just getting me a break even trade, but could have easily been a winning trade if I took this first inversion, which I should have, ignoring the fact that we had this rejection wick because we had a huge rejection up to the upside, so this little one is not significant. Overall, this trade was A/A+, and I would take it again. And that's the trade recap for today. I hope you learned something, and let me know if you took the same trade.